If you've been to my channel before, you probably know that in addition to loving the outdoors, I'm also a filmmaker. I try to film all my adventures, but I also do it professionally. I'm often asked for advice on how to film your adventures, so today I'm going to give you some tips on how to film your own outdoor adventures. Like me, many of you film your outdoor adventures. I've seen some amazing stuff out there, but I'm often asked for tips. So let's go. I'm going to break things down into three main sections. 1, planning, 2, filming, and 3, editing. In this video, we will look at the first two. The third will be covered in the next video. Planning. This is the part that most people don't do. I don't mean planning the trip. Most of us do a great job planning our backpacking or canoe trips. I mean planning the filming part. Many of us will start a trip and remember that we have a camera and film some stuff. Then we wonder why it's hard to put together into a good story or a well-flowing video. That is why planning is the most important part of a shoot. In making a film, pre-production is the most important part. That's where you plan what you're going to shoot, how you're going to shoot it, and what gear you will shoot with, and what story you want to tell. The same goes for you filming your adventure. Planning how you want to tell the story of your trip will help you know what you need to shoot. For example, do you just want to show scenery? Do you want to talk to the camera to explain what you're doing while you're doing it? Will you narrate the video after? Are you going to get shots of you paddling or hiking, etc.? Knowing how you plan to tell your story will help you make sure that you get all the shots that you need. If I'm planning to talk to the camera to explain things, then I need to remember to do that in those situations where I want to do that. If I plan to narrate the video later, then I don't need to worry about filming myself talking to the camera. I should point out that one way is not better than any other way of doing it. But deciding how you plan to do it will help you stay on track and not miss the shots that you need. By planning how you want to shoot your trip, you will also be able to determine what filming gear you need. Are you going to film with one camera or multiple cameras? What camera or cameras will you want to shoot with? One of the questions that I get most is, what is the best camera to shoot with? The answer I give is the one you will use. You can bring an expensive video camera or mirrorless camera. I have, and they are great. But if I'm going to keep it wrapped up in a bag or case while I'm paddling because I'm worried it will get wet, then I'm not going to use it as much as I might use a smaller camera or my phone, which I can keep in my pocket at the ready. One camera is better than 5 you can't easily access. Over the years, I have found that I use my phone more than anything else for my camping trips. I use it because it's easy and convenient, but also because phone cameras have become so good. That doesn't mean I don't use other cameras. Phone cameras do have limitations, and I may want to bring a camera with a really good zoom, for instance, if I expect to see wildlife. Or I may want to attach a GoPro or two to my canoe to get some cool shots and not worry about them getting wet. Planning the kind of shots that you want to have will help you determine which camera is best and how many cameras you want to take. Remember that the more you take, the more you have to carry. The more power you will need to charge your gear, and the more storage you will need for all of that video. Planning ahead will also help decide if there is other gear that you need. Are you the only person filming? Do you want to be in the shots? You might need to bring a small tripod that you can set up the camera on to film yourself around camp. Or if you want to catch yourself paddling from the shore or hiking up along the trail, you can set up your camera on a tripod and get these kind of shots. Audio can be a big issue. Built-in mics on cameras or your phone are not bad, but they do pick up everything. If you're really close to the camera, then you will most likely get good sound. But if you're more than a few feet away, the sound will not be that good. So if you plan to talk to the camera while standing more than arm's length away, you may want to bring a microphone. There are all sorts of different mics. A small shotgun mic can fit nicely on top of a camera. Might be a little harder to attach to a phone, but there are also wireless lav mics, and these are often really good. Both a shotgun and a lav mic should have that fluffy little windshield that will help cut down wind noise. Filming. Now you're on your trip. Hopefully the planning you did beforehand has given you an idea of what and how you want to shoot, and you have all the right gear with you. If you are hiking or paddling, did you decide that you were going to make the hike or the paddle part of your story? If so, film all of the relevant parts. Get some shots of you putting on your backpack or loading the canoe. A tripod is helpful for these kind of shots. Or if you're not alone, have the other person with you, film that. Show off the location, the scenery. That's probably a big part of why you're there. But don't just show the views, film your reaction to what you're seeing. Let's say you're paddling through a winding river and you come across a moose on the shore. Obviously, you want to get the shot of that, but then afterwards, film yourself and explain what you were feeling in that moment, or how exciting it was, or how the animal ran away and you almost didn't get the shot. Stories are about emotions, the feeling that they give us. So share how you feel. It will draw your audience in more. Throughout your journey, look for interesting and creative shots. Maybe mount a GoPro to your canoe or strap to your backpack straps. Look for interesting angles, a bow shot looking forward in a canoe or a shot looking back at you paddling. The wide scenic views, your paddle entering the water, the wake behind your canoe. If you're filming with your phone, include some selfie style shots. These are great for immediate reactions to things. A few of my favorite shots that I've taken took a little while to set up, but it was worth it. This was taken with a 360 camera on a pole. It almost looks like it's a drone shot. And this was taken using a cable cam, a rope strung across the river with a motorized pulley and a camera. I love this shot. The more variety of shots and angles, the more interesting your video will be. Please note though, if you're on water, be aware that most cameras, unless it's something like a GoPro, do not like water. Make sure you keep them safe and dry. I now use a bungee cable attached to my phone after dropping it in a river once. I like to get shots of me walking or paddling by. These shots take a bit of time to set up, but if you have the time, it's worth it. If you have a little tripod, place it on the trail and walk down the trail. Put the camera on the shore and just get in your canoe and paddle by. These are great shots. But of course, you do have to go back and get the camera each time, so be aware of that. Once you're at camp, decide what parts of camp life you want to film. Maybe film setting up camp. Again, get multiple angles and interesting shots. Campfires make for great footage, and maybe get some cooking shots. Now, you don't have to film every moment of your trip. In fact, I recommend that you don't. Take some time to soak in nature. That's important. If you're staying at camp and you want to have a relaxing afternoon, maybe film a couple of shots, then stop and relax. Just decide what is important for the story you want to tell and film those moments. Some technical stuff. Lighting. You might be in strong, harsh sunlight or the flat light of an overcast day. Use whatever the lighting condition is to your advantage. Bright sunlight will be happy and warm, but watch out for harsh shadows on faces. If the shadows on your face don't look good, you can simply turn a bit until they are good, or go and film in the shade. An overcast day will give a nice, even light. Sometimes you'll get dramatic lighting, like when there are storm clouds or really moody lighting if there's mist or fog. Be on the lookout for that kind of stuff. Once it gets dark, filming becomes a little more tricky. You can bring a little video light or use a flashlight to add light to a night scene. Sometimes the light from a campfire will be enough. Audio. I had mentioned audio earlier, but good audio makes your video feel professional. Bad audio can ruin even beautifully filmed video. So try to get the best audio you can while filming, especially for shots where you're talking to the camera. Now, that could be using another mic, like a shotgun mic or a wireless lav mic, or just being as close to the camera as you can. The closer you are to a mic, the better the sound will be. The farther away, the worse it'll be. Also be aware of wind noise. If you're trying to talk to the camera on a windy lake, there's a good chance that you won't have good sound. Time lapses. A time-lapse shot is a great way to show the passage of time. A lot of cameras have a time-lapse mode. Almost all phones do. For a time-lapse, you'll want the camera firmly mounted or on a tripod. The way a time-lapse works is that the camera will take one shot every however many seconds you choose, and then play them back at either 30 frames per second or 24 frames per second. That's typically what most videos are filmed in. So since real time is, say, 30 frames or pictures in a second, if you take those 30 pictures over a long period of time, then everything will be sped up. For example, if you set to shoot one frame every 10 seconds, then 5 minutes of actual time turns into 1 second of video. I like to use a time lapse sometimes to show a speedy version of setting up camp, or to turn an hour-long paddle into a few seconds, or the classic sunset or sunrise shot. For a sunset, first you need to know where the sun is going to set, then set up the camera in that direction, start shooting as the sun is going down, and leave the camera there until well after it's dark. This will give you the best result. A sunrise is the reverse. Know where the sun will rise, point in that direction, start shooting before the sun comes up, and leave it going until the sun has risen. There are other ways to speed up time, like speeding up your normal shots in editing, but there's something really satisfying about capturing a great time lapse in the camera. One final note on filming: some of the best, most interesting stuff happens when things aren't going as planned. Maybe it's pouring rain, a sudden storm comes through, you're exhausted due to a tough hike. Whatever it is, those moments when you really don't feel like filming are precisely the moments that you should film. A lovely, warm, sunny, uneventful trip is wonderful, but it's a much less interesting story than when things are tough. So try to remember to film during those times. It will be worth it. I will say, though, that you shouldn't compromise your safety just to get a shot. If you're paddling in rough water and need to focus on paddling to be safe, do so. Don't worry about filming. No shot is worth dying for. Okay, I will leave this video here. The next video, we will go over editing and crafting your story. In the meantime, if you have any questions about anything in this video or filming in general, please comment below. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.